Welcome into LFFL Prime Time, your Week 12 recaps, your Week 13 previews. Remember, Week 13 ends the regular season in most of our leagues. And, of course, the LFFL 5 already into the playoffs after Week 12. So, got a lot to talk about today. Remember, all ties are broken by points scored, no more head-to-head. In the original league, got Josh beating Miles, Andy beating Todd, Matt beating Eric, Phil beating Greg, Bill beating myself. That leaves us with a four-way tie for first. Todd, myself, Bill, Phil, all at 8-4. Todd has the inside track on the bye week, significantly more points than the rest of us. I'm currently sitting that second bye week. I'm about 25 points ahead of Bill on the season. Both Bill and I are significantly ahead of Phil. So likely we will get the second bye week. However, if all three of us lose, Phil can still get that bye week with a win. Andy and Matt sit at 6-6 in the final two playoff spots. Andy does face Greg, who is 5-7. Eric is also 5-7. Neither have been officially eliminated yet. Andy's point scored is the best of those four teams, so Greg would need to both win and outscore Andy by about 25 points to guarantee a playoff spot. However, Greg has also gotten in with Matt. Matt's point scored is the worst of those four teams, so both Greg and Eric could also still get past Matt. If he loses, they win. They score enough, they could be in as well. Josh and Miles have been eliminated at this point. Looking ahead to this week, Andy facing off with Greg. Andy does hold the 22-18 in the traditional season-ending matchup with OHS playoff implications. Matt facing off with Josh in a rematch of Super Bowl 14 won by Matt. Josh does hold the career series 16-13, including a win earlier this year. Bill has beaten Miles all three times he has played him, including earlier this season. Todd beat Eric earlier this year. However, Eric holds the 26-23 lead in the series. And finally, Phil and I rematch a couple of different Super Bowls from the 90s. I do hold the 40-24 lead in the series in spite of Phil's win earlier this season. Moving on to the LFFL 2. Bill beat Eric, probably wouldn't have if Deontay Johnson could actually catch the football. Miles beat Andy, Merrill's beat Todd, Sean beat Phil, and Greg beat myself. Bill has a nice two-game lead with 5 to play. Greg and Eric still in the mix at 8-4. Sean at 7-5. Todd at 6-6, and the rest of us playing for absolutely nothing. Merrill's versus Andy, Miles versus Bill, Greg versus Sean, Eric versus Phil, Todd versus myself. Moving on to LFFL 3. Bill beat Miles, Eric beat Todd, Matt Brennan beat Greg, Matt Merrill beat Andy, and Phil beat myself. If you look, these 5 teams at the top, Phil, Bill, Miles, Matt, Merrill, Eric, all could still get the bye week. Bill's point scored is terrible compared to the other 4 teams. So Bill absolutely needs to win to get a bye week. If Bill loses, bye week is probably out. Phil, looking solid for that bye week, is leading that group in points scored. Miles, Matt, and Eric all still can get that bye week, all have clinched playoff spots. For that final spot, Matt Brennan, sitting at 6-6, is playing me this week at 5-7. The problem, I'm behind him by about 70 points. And in case you can't notice, I only scored 70 points last week. So not looking too good for me to pass him. Greg and Andy are even further behind in points scored. So it would be a real miracle for any of us to get past Matt Brennan, even if I can somehow beat him after he scored 141 last week. Looking ahead to week 13, Eric versus Phil, Greg versus Bill, Miles versus Matt Merrill. They'll be working those bye weeks out amongst themselves. Todd versus Andy, and Matt Brennan versus me, as we said. LFFL 4, congratulations to Greg. 3rd win this season, 15th overall, a brand new Thanksgiving Day record. Then moving on to week 12, Eric was your winner. Another big score. First win this year, however, is 7th overall, and now has won in every single season. Standings, Greg still on top. Bill, myself, Eric, Matt, Brennan, Nate, Phil, all within shouting distance here. This is still a wide open game. LFFL 5, we had Phil over Eric, Greg over Andy, Miles over Bill, Todd over Sean, myself over Slick. Playoffs are set. Greg will face off with Bill. It was Greg's 3rd straight trip to the playoffs. Lost the first 2 Super Bowls, facing off Bill's first playoff appearance. Eric will be making his 2nd consecutive trip to the playoffs. Did lose in the semifinals last year. Andy, a first-time playoff appearance in the LFFL 5. Good luck to all 4 teams. Looking at the LFFL 6, Bill continues to get uncomfortably close to us in the top 3. Todd, myself, and Greg still haven't changed. Bill did take over the April lead, and as I say, is continuing to creep closer and closer. Looking ahead to the FFL 7, a big shout-out to Todd here. Todd was your elimination this week. Next week will be the first time in 27 tries that we played the Elimination League, and Todd wasn't a part of it. Awesome run by Todd, a finalist last year, got to the second to last week this year. Congratulations. You deserve it. All the accolades. Matt Brennan and Bill have had the 2 high-scoring teams all year long and do battle for the title next week. So good luck to both teams. Finally, in our Player of the Year standings, we are looking at Bill leading the way. He has, you don't know if you notice, he's actually creating a little space here. Todd, myself, and Greg still battling, still sticking around. So, is this Bill's year? Could be. Good luck to everybody this week.